I just wanted to have a chance to get closer and just talk to you, but I didn't have the words to say.
I knew it when I saw you pass me. If I had the opportunity, I wouldn't let this moment pass me. Damn, here it comes again.
I don't wanna let my heart get lost in these feelings, but I got a yearning for that beautiful feeling. And even though I don't even know your name, probably won't get this chance again. Can we talk about what things would be like?
If me and you became friends. If me and you became friends. If me and you became friends. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Treely.
I'm Tyree.
And this is
on What's T Square. Thank y'all for joining us for this second episode. We really appreciate it. Everybody, remember, keep writing us, keep sending us those letters, keep tweeting us, keep hitting us up on Facebook. We love to hear your comments, your questions, your concerns, the matters of your heart, everything. Just keep letting us know.
All right, so we're going to dive right in because we have a special show for you guys today.
Yes.
So we're going to head and taste this tea, and it better be
Oh, yeah.
better than
That palm
last
olive
week.
that y'all tried to pass off as tea last week.
I know what this is.
Oh, okay. That's kind of nice.
Nobody said to steep it.
Okay.
All right,
So I'll say,
you got it.
because last week I was so critical on that licorice tea, they must have taken notes because this tea is really good.
Yeah.
It has a mint in there somewhere, and then I don't know what that other taste is, but it's good. I would get this, whatever it
Yeah.
is. So we'll find out what this tea is at the end of the show. But this one is good. It's really good.
All right, so when we come back, we have a few guests for you guys today. We have Dr. Rodney Pearson of Love on Fire Church. He is going to be discussing his new first edition book of Taming the Sacred Cows. And then we have Pastor
LaDonna Cox. Hallelujah.
who
Yes,
is
Pastor LaDonna Cox.
City of Harvest
Yes,
Ministry.
she's the pastor of
she
City
is
of
coming
Harvest.
on. We're going to do this.
And she sang too, but
she's
she be
beautiful.
Acting, no, she be acting
Beautiful.
sometimes.
Not like Dr. Pearson is in handsome and stuff, but LaDonna, that's my
Snatched.
boo. All right, we'll be back. On November 13th, tragedy struck Paris, and there was a terrorist attack. We would like to take this moment to have a moment of silence.
Definitely want to keep the family and the members who were affected in our prayers and our thoughts and in our hearts.
Thank you. And we're back. Tyree and Treely. And we have with us Dr. Rodney Pearson over
Yes,
here.
That's
Hi.
right. Hello. Hello.
And
Pastor LaDonna Cox over here to my left.
hey, boo.
So
My
excited.
So glad to be
So
here.
excited to have you guys here. This is our second show, and so we really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting and believing in our vision. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's good to be here.
So we're about to dive in. We like to do a little bit of gossiping, not a whole lot, just a little while you sip your tea.
Uh-huh.
We got a little tea of ourselves. So
Yes.
I know it was something that you really wanted to talk about.
I did.
that's really been-
I have to. We cannot go on if we don't talk about, since we do have two pastors on with us, this Starbucks red cup thing.
I took a nap. I'm sorry. Because I'm over that.
Okay. I'm over it too. So today, instead of having a red cup, I have a white cup, but you don't know how badly I wanted a red cup. And I wanted to write Happy Hanukkah, Happy Thanksgiving, all over it. Because, Pastor, have you heard about that?
Yeah, I heard that a lot of Christians are pretty upset about this too.
Yes.
They don't want them to just have a red cup to represent Christmas, that they want Christmas and all kinds of more leaning toward the actual holiday rather than a color of a cup.
Have you heard about this?
Over here
I
sipping tea.
have, but Christians just have their way of wanting the whole world to see things the way they do. I mean, that's just like putting in the stores, Jesus is the reason for the season. I mean, do you see that in Toys R Us? No.
Right,
They
right.
want it, though, but they want it.
They do want it, but just like when they get into Obama and what he believes, Obama ain't the president of the church; he's the president of the United States.
Right.
Right.
And Christians just have a way of being extremely biased.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of people are biased, and which they have a right to be, to express their preferences
Yes.
and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That's a free country. That's the
Right.
United
But
States.
the problem is when you try to forge it on someone else.
Right. Or you try to degrade or belittle somebody
Yes.
because their beliefs are different than yours.
Right.
See, now that will lead me to our next point. See, I want to talk about something that nobody wants to talk about, and that is homosexuality in the church.
Wow.
You better preach, Pastor. You better do shouting music.
Oh, he will.
That's
Okay.
the forbidden fruit.
It's
Yes,
like,
it is. It's taboo. It's like
is.
those
It's
red
so-
X's on Family Feud.
right.
We can't go there.
So I don't know. Let's start with you, LaDonna. Is that okay?
Well,
Sure.
the thing about it is, not only is it difficult for Christians to talk about homosexuality in the church,
Yeah.
it's hard for Christians to talk about human sexuality.
Human sexuality.
Now,
Right.
Sister Jenkins came to church with 15 kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yes.
the daddy stayed at home. We didn't know
Yeah.
who he was.
Yeah.
Right.
But you would, if you looked at her and listened to what she said, you would even think she had
Right.
sexual relations.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's
And
right.
this is what God made.
Right.
Okay?
Well, it should be a subject that should be taught in the church.
In the church.
Your kids actually, I'm not talking about, kindergartners,
Right.
but I think that at a certain level, when they're teaching it at school, meaning that they're intelligent enough to comprehend the whole concept,
Correct.
then they should be teaching that in the church,
Yes.
so that people at least not getting this information out in the school,
Right.
and then they come into the church and it's
Right.
like it doesn't even exist.
Right,
It's
and it's so
completely-
taboo,
it is,
right?
it is.
It's like you can't say the word sex in church.
No.
But shouldn't we learn about sex in
Right,
church
yeah.
because the Creator created it?
Yeah.
And if the Creator isn't talked about anywhere, He's talked about in the church.
Right.
But why do we have to separate sex from God?
Well,
Yeah.
as it says in the Bible, when I do know that my pastor actually uses the term very much in church, not in a pornographic, dirty kind
But
of way.
he's a more modern teacher.
Yeah,
Right.
he's a
But the
mod-
way
he
we
is a
grew
modern
up,
teacher.
yeah.
Good word to use.
Yeah.
But you know what? In the high school that I went to Chandler High, and they had a gay and lesbian class
Wow.
at the school.
Club
And
or
so,
class?
oh no, it was a club. I'm sorry, it was a club.
I was
And
getting
so
ready to
say.
when I,
Teach
yeah, it
me
was a
how to
club.
be
It
a
wasn't a
gay or
class. Like
lesbian.
let me teach
101
you. Let
again
me teach
today.
you how to be.
That's our lesson,
Right.
kids.
No, it was a club.
Period.
But this is the thing. They allowed it, and they allowed,
And they were-
the students to be free. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
However, they would not, okay, so this is when I first, got introduced to God. So, initially when you first get saved, you really be on fire.
Yeah.
So I wanted a Christian class at the school,
Right.
club at the
Club.
school. And so I had to get petitions signed. I had to
Oh,
go to my teachers, get all of this stuff signed. And then after that, then they let us pray at the flag.
Yeah.
And then I had to keep going and keep going and keep fighting and keep fighting. And then we had a Christian club. And then by that time, nobody wanted to be in the club anymore. So it was just me and my cousin. And my uncle, my cousin, and my brother.
works
But
in
my
your
uncle,
family.
right, my uncle was the pastor. And so it was just us three after that. But,
That's how all churches first
you know what I'm
started.
saying? And it's so
Your mama singing.
be a piece of
your
I was
teachers,
trying
the
to, I thought I was called to be a
Uncle's the
preacher
bishop.
at one time. But it just makes now and today, if they were able to do that, and I'm not going to say when I graduated because I'm going to stay on my age, but back then, if they were able to have this club and they were able to just be free and they wanted people to respect how they were, they wanted to be able to come here and this to be a safe haven. And then now it just seems like it went downhill, and that was in 2002.
Okay.
That was just in 2002, and now it's going downhill because you got kids killing themselves.
Yes.
You got
Yes.
kids,
Yeah.
just resorting to bullying, and they want to go and they
Yes.
want to kill everybody
Yes.
else
Yes.
because they feel like they can't express who they really are, and especially in the church,
And let's
they
talk
don't want to go
about
no
that.
more.
How children, young adults, adolescents, all of the sort are harming themselves,
Absolutely.
living recklessly because they've been told you don't belong to God.
That's right.
You have no connection to your creator.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Well, I
No
think-
wonder they out having, unsafe sex.
Yeah.
Now, again, that's why I think that when the issue is avoided, when kids aren't being educated or miseducated, when that's happening, people are confused.
Right.
And so these internal conflicts, those create issues with the physical conflicts.
Right.
All of those things happen, and a person who is heterosexual, been taught the same way all of their lives, they have no clue,
Yes.
no understanding, no idea at
Right.
all what these kids are going through. And yet, they want to be the saviors of the world.
Yeah.
Right,
You know.
right.
Okay, well, since you brought up that point, Pastor, let's take it to the church. Let's take it
All right.
to your church.
All right.
Let's go there.
So Love on Fire, what we basically have just recently decided to introduce to the whole church, is the idea of being an inclusive church.
Okay.
Now, this has taken a long time because we teach unconditional love.
Okay.
Now, we've taught unconditional love the entire time the church has been in existence. One of my first books, well, actually my third book, but it was the Agape Doctrine. So we talked about from there what the unconditional love of God is all about. Loving anybody, loving everybody, and supposedly including everybody. But what we found is that not only was people's ideology of love skewed and messed up and all of that kind of stuff, but if you took it to how do I love people that are different than me?
Hey,
How
that's
do
the
I
question.
love? That's the
Yeah.
bigger issue.
Yes.
And do I love them? And I had one time a person who said, "Oh, you can love them, but you have to always let them know that they're in sin."
That they going to hell.
Yeah, you got to always do that.
Fire
And I'm
and
saying,
brimstone.
why in the world would I be in a relationship with a church that every
Right.
time I walk in the door, I'm condemned?
I'm
Yeah.
condemned.
Until I become like them, whatever that is.
Whatever that
if I
is.
can be like them.
If that's a white skirt down to the
That's
floor,
right,
you can't
right.
wear red fingernail polish.
That's right, or
Got
white
to wear a
dolly
dolly
on my
on your
head.
head.
That's right.
Come on now.
That's right.
Okay, so wait. So what you're trying to say is, at your church, you're not trying to make people feel like they have to come and then turn into somebody else. Because I've seen that.
Yeah.
Like churches will say, "I'll accept you."
Right,
I've
but you
seen
gotta
somebody
be more
recently,
like
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But then you got to transform. Like there's women that they dress a little bit more boyish, but they
Right.
want you to put on a skirt.
Right.
Huh, Mia. She's
Well,
over there.
I think that, again, one of the things that the church does and has done for many, many years is they feel an obligation to convert people. And they have mixed up the word convert and substituted it for the word conform.
Conform.
And so they want people to conform to them instead of conforming to Christ.
You
All
better
right?
preach, Pastor.
All right. Yes.
Right. It's more like be like us and we'll love you more.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just so interesting though. We have this thought about what love and acceptance is in the church, and I think the problem is it's because a lot of people that are teaching still have these antiquated beliefs
Right.
and views,
Yeah.
and they have not gone outside of the church.
Right.
You'll understand that the more you're educated, the more you leave the church.
Yeah.
Come on now, that's an oxymoron.
Right.
You can actually learn more about God and his people.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting on the pew Sunday after Sunday, you
Yeah.
have no experience.
Yeah.
All you have is John 3:16.
Right.
For God so loved the world. You
Right,
rocking
right.
back and forth.
Exactly,
Ain't had no
exactly.
experiences.
Exactly.
Ain't had no dilemmas
Yeah.
or questionings in certain areas
Yeah.
of your life.
Yeah.
How are you going to effectively minister to other people?
Well,
Right.
I think it has a lot to do with I guess, the image that the pastor has to have.
Okay.
Wait, real quickly. I want to stop us right there. I want to take a quick break, and we're
'Cause
going
we
to
on the road
reconvene.
now.
Yeah, we on the road. We're going to take a quick break.
All right.
And I'm going to bring it back in.
Okay.
We'll be right back. All right, we're back from our quick break.
Hey, y'all.
It was getting hot and steamy up here. I needed to, air out. I don't know.
But
But Pastor, I'm going to go back to what you were saying.
Okay.
You said the preacher always has to have this image.
Yeah, the most pastors, especially in Christian churches, have the image that they know everything. So they are the sole educator.
Come on.
They are the sole spiritual
Yeah.
fathers. They
Yep.
are all of that. And so what they don't know, the people don't get.
Right.
Okay? And so if they are,
that just clicked. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
And so if their mentality or their tradition or their preferences even, whatever that is, that's what they give to the people.
Yeah.
Now there is a scripture that says like priests, like people. And so therefore people tend to even enforce and endorse their pastor's mentality of whatever I know, I'm going to pass that on to you, and you're going to be the
Right.
beneficiary of
Can
what
I throw
know.
something
Yeah.
in right there, Pastor? What's so interesting to me, that is a fact, what you're saying, because I've had people that have antiquated beliefs and or thoughts,
Right.
reared in the church,
Sure.
the traditional church, believed everything that the pastor said,
Right.
did not go home and study their
Right.
own selves to show that they were approved.
Yes,
Okay,
that's the book.
and it was in the 1980s. Women, no, let's go back further.
Yeah.
The 1960s, women aren't allowed in the pulpit.
Right.
Women cannot preach.
Uh-huh.
Let's move down further. Around the 1970s and 1980s, where women couldn't wear pants and you couldn't wear certain jewelry. These
Right.
type of things were enforced. But the moment
Yes,
the pastor
yes.
said, watch this, I got a revelation from God,
You're
y'all.
all right. Then you're all right.
Then they said, well, Bishop said,
Yeah.
or pastor said,
That's
that
what it is.
now we can
What they're
preach
looking
as
for,
women.
what they're looking for is that ultimate approval.
Ultimate
That
approval.
If my pastor says it, then
Right.
God says it.
Then God says it.
Right.
But how wrong is that?
Yeah.
And how much of a disgrace is that
Yeah.
between you and your own creator?
Right.
Check this,
Right.
because you are not even exploring your own intelligence.
You're not.
Right.
Well-
But we come from a time where the pastor, that role was
Yeah.
so important. Come on,
Yeah.
coming out of the fields
Right.
of
right.
slavery.
Well, that's
Right.
what I was going to say. It goes even further back
Yes, sir.
than the advance issue and all that stuff, because women's suffrage, the whole idea of women
Oh,
not being able to
yes.
vote,
You're
all
right.
of that
You're
stuff
right.
was
Right.
thoroughly
Right.
enforced
You're
by
right.
the church.
By the
and
church.
it came out of biblical views and interpretation.
Right.
That women were not supposed to do anything.
Right.
One scripture in the Bible talks about, if you have a question, bring it to your husband.
Right, right.
You know, don't even talk to, you don't
Now
even
you
have
said,
the privilege
yeah,
to
and you
talk to
said
the
a key
pastor.
word,
Yeah.
interpretation.
Interpretation,
You
yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
walk up to someone in the middle of a sentence and assume that is the motto for their whole entire life.
Right.
You have to
Yeah.
take in the context of the
Right.
day, the time,
Yeah.
and you gotta even remember, or you gotta take note of who's writing what.
Right. Well, that's why.
Right.
Can I go to my book right quick? Because I want to actually
Okay.
chime into that.
Okay.
I brought a copy of my book, Taming Sacred Cows. That is exactly
Okay.
what this book is about.
Right.
Because it addressed the issues, not just homosexuality, like we're going to eventually talk about here, but it also talks about how we things like marriage, things like music,
Right.
things like dance,
Right.
things like funerals.
Yes.
You know, we wouldn't
Yes.
want nobody cremated. You
Right.
know, all of these kinds of issues that we don't even like change.
Right.
In fact, we endorsed as a church that God changes not.
Oh,
And
exactly.
so we use that scripture.
Exactly.
You know, as
God don't change.
Totally out of
But
context.
can I ask you a
Yeah.
question? When you go to science, biology, and the things of that like, they tell you right off the bat, you cannot state that there is anything proven.
Right.
There are no facts. You know why? Because it's ever evolving and ever changing.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
see,
if
the
this
Bible-
is science, why can't religion understand that there needs to be some change at some
Because
point
the
in time?
authority in the church is the Bible. Now, you
Okay.
got to understand.
Right.
If it's,
I'm sorry.
Okay, go.
I was just going to say, let me get into the Bible.
Okay,
So
good.
the topic is homosexuality. Let me just throw this out to
All
y'all.
right, go
Okay.
ahead.
I'm going to throw out Leviticus,
All
and
right.
you...
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay, Leviticus 18:22.
Right.
Let's start with that.
I can't
Leviticus
about it.
18:22. That is the foremost
That's the one.
scripture
That's the one
about
that they hang on.
homosexuality. Right.
Yeah.
Men should not have sex with men as with women.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting thing about Leviticus is that Leviticus talks a lot about violations. It talks a
Violations.
lot about violations.
Don't you be eating no shrimp.
Exactly. In Leviticus.
Right.
Okay.
No
Don't
shellfish.
you mix
in
linen and
Leviticus.
cotton?
Yeah. Oh,
Don't you
yeah.
go in a house with your wife ministrating.
Right.
Okay.
No, you can't even, you're not supposed to even have any relationships with your wife. You can't even, after your wife has a baby, you're not supposed to touch your wife for 2 months.
Wait a minute, Pastor, and I know that a lot of folk ain't doing it, because a lot of y'all was born in the same year.
Did she say that?
Because father came right in there
Your
after that,
sister too
The
much
next
older
week-
than
the
you.
next week-
Listen.
after that
The
6-week
next week,
checkup.
that's right.
Come on,
You gotta
now.
preach.
Come on
Yeah,
now.
are you
Some of
all
y'all
right?
was born in January
That's
and
right.
then in November. You had a brother that y'all was 11 months apart.
That's right.
That's
People
my
call
mom
y'all
and
twins.
All right.
Come
People
on,
call
They the
y'all
now.
same
twins.
age for
Come
one
on.
day.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mom
Well,
and her
again,
sister.
Leviticus has a bunch of abominations,
Mm-hmm.
or a better word for it is that it says it's detestable to God.
Right.
Now, when you start talking about menstrual periods and stuff like that, that was a sanitary issue.
Right.
It was a sanitary issue. It was not only was the issue of sanitary sanitation, but it was also a way of helping birth control. All right. Now, when you start about sanitation, the first thing that you think about, remember, we're talking about in a time and day when hot water was not always accessible.
Right.
You certainly did not have condoms, okay? And so when men are having sex with men, it's a sanitation issue more than anything else.
Okay.
And God is basically saying, now remember, we're talking about plagues. We're talking about diseases that
Right.
are wiping
Right.
out whole cities,
Right.
whole
So,
generations are being
Pastor,
wiped
are you
out.
saying that we have to remember in which context
Well, that's
these
what I'm
things
saying.
were
to.
written?
If we avoid the historicity, if we
Right.
avoid it completely,
Yes.
if we don't put any of that in the context, and we think we can take that segment
And isolate
that
it.
took place
Yes.
years,
Yes.
thousands of years
Yes.
ago, and then now apply
Apply
it would be
it
just
today.
like trying to endorse a Model T. Today,
Right.
and trying to take your air conditioner and put it in a Model T.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So I say to people all the time, and I say it even in this book, I say we need to be aware of the fact that things do change.
They do
Jesus even
change.
said, you heard that Moses said this,
Yes.
but I say this.
Right. Right.
Okay,
Right.
Jesus even
better
said
preach
that.
that.
And a lot of times when we talk about Leviticus, we avoid that whole issue of that things are different.
Right.
Now, here's another thing that we avoid, the Sodom and Gomorrah issue. All right. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah, people use that. And they say, I had a lady one time tell me, well, God destroyed the city because of homosexuality.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I had somebody tell
Not
me.
in the Bible.
That's what somebody told
It's
me.
not in the Bible.
Right.
No Bible says that God destroyed the city because of
You
homosexuality.
can't tell traditional believers that.
Yo,
You can't.
all you got to do,
Everybody, shut off YouTube.
Yeah.
You just broke YouTube.
all you have to do is go to the Bible.
Right.
Look at the verse.
Right.
And that's King James.
Right.
That's NIV.
Right.
That's all of them.
What
all
verse
you gotta
is
do, I don't know. But it's somewhere in Genesis.
It's
Okay.
somewhere in
But
there.
here's what it says. It says that God destroyed the city because of wickedness.
Yeah.
Right.
The wickedness of the city.
Right.
All right, y'all. We're gonna end right there. We're gonna take a small break on the wickedness of the city in Sodom and Gomorrah, not homosexuality.
All right.
All right, we'll be right back with you. Okay, and we're back. We stopped at the word wickedness. Now, pastors, I want to ask you, because there's this new Caitlyn Jenner thing. How I didn't mean to put that in quotations. That's a real person. But when a man or a woman that feel like they're supposed to be a woman or a man, the opposite, how does that tie into all of this? Bring that home for me.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between gender identity and then gender preference or sexual preference, I
Right.
should say. So there's a major difference between that. And I think that what needs to happen is education.
Okay.
That's the key to it. Whether it is all of these issues we discuss, what have you, education. So if a person needs to identify with a particular, sex or gender, then they should be free to do that. Some people have to do that surgically. Some people do that by outer appearance. There's all of that stuff that takes place. But most people don't know the difference between what is identity, what I identify with, and then what's my preference.
Right.
And when we talk about the church, it's all messed up. It's all messed up
Right.
because we don't even deal with it. We put homosexuality all under the same blanket.
Right.
And it's all sin in the church.
Right.
So
The church is
without education, then people don't have that at least option to be able to know, is this where I am? Is this what's going on?
So I have a quick question about this. I'm sorry, I
Okay,
didn't mean to cut you
okay.
off. I have a quick question. So, me personally, I really don't care who or what or how or when or where. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love everybody, and that's
right.
just me. And that is
You.
because I love you, and that is because I want to be accepted.
That's
also,
right,
what we were
right.
talking about, I want people to accept me, and I have this whole complex with being really shy and whatever the case may be. However, what I
Which
don't
we cannot tell.
but what I don't understand, and I guess I would have to be educated on this, I don't understand how me being a male, how can I identify with being a woman when I'm not a woman? I don't know what being a woman is like. I don't have a clue. So how can I identify with that? Just like, that whole Rachel Dolezal thing. How can you identify with being a black woman when you've never been a black woman?
Right.
So that's what my question is. How can a person identify with being something that they don't have any experience with being?
So that's your question.
That's my
about
question.
Understanding
About
people that
understanding,
have
yeah.
gender reassignment.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is there's things going on that you cannot see.
Yeah.
And there's always there's other things going on behind the scenes within their bodies, different hormones and different things like that, that lend to a person's thought of what they want to be. And that's not an outside thing. Like you can't tell what's going on, but you have even children that I've seen that identify as a different sex way before they've even been told, hey, this is who you are, and they feel inevitably that this is who they were made to be. Now, the thing about this, when Pastor said that there's anything that's different from what's going on in the church is kind of put in one whole blanket, right? It's put into, okay, that's just wrong because this group of people are different from me, right? But the word says that love covers a multitude of sins.
Right.
And then this is the thing where things are happening that you cannot describe. That's where grace fits in it, right? Because we all, even if you cannot understand what a person is going through, you understand grace.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you understand that you yourself need acceptance.
Yep.
And again, I'll say this,
Go ahead.
that everybody wants to be accepted, but they fail to be accepting.
Yeah.
And the Bible says that we either have the law,
Right.
Okay.
which is what we talk about in Leviticus, or we have grace.
Yeah.
They cannot exist in the same person or in the same body or in the same mentality.
And the scriptures say to us that in all of the law
Right?
and all of the prophets
Yes.
hang
on.
You love God with all
Yes.
your heart, all your mind, and all your soul,
Right.
and love your neighbor as yourself.
Right.
But I want to go back to this issue that he brought up just quickly and say that one of the major issues that take place is that because, again, we're not educated, all of these things that are taking place inside of us cause us to be at that place of we have to assign what is sin and what is not. So here's a lady who has a blind child, and they come to Jesus and say, well, who's at fault? Is it the parents? And he said it wasn't the parents. He said this was done so that the glory of God can be revealed. He said it has nothing to do with sin.
Right.
We always assign sin to these different issues.
Not only that, Pastor, but I find that people always have to assign a label
a label
to
too.
something.
Right.
It has to be black and white,
Yeah.
heaven or hell,
Yeah.
up or down.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Yeah.
And the church has never had room
Yeah.
for a gray area.
And the sexuality is not black and white.
It is
black
not.
sexuality has all
Listen,
the
neither
spectrum
can
of
it
colors
be.
in
That's
it.
my scripture. Neither can it be
All
black
right.
and white.
I hate to interrupt you guys. This has been amazing. Thank you guys for coming on. But if you can leave us with one quick point each so we can move on to our next segment, that would be such a wonderful thing.
Okay, well, my point would be love. Unconditional love. That would be my point. That we need to make sure that if we're going to love, we can't love through tolerance. Okay?
Hey,
We either
there's a
have to-
difference.
It's a major word. I've gotten to the point now where tolerance is something I'm kicking out of my vocabulary because God expects me to love, not tolerate. All
Right.
right? That's what I would say.
Right.
Pastor.
I would say, find God for yourself and find what works for you within the ramifications of what you've experienced.
Okay.
That's what I would
Good
say.
point.
Well, thank you both for being on.
Thank
Tyree.
you guys. We appreciate
And
it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The
Thank
next
you.
thing we will be talking about is our Indie Artist Pick of the Week. Again, we want to thank Dr. Rodney Pearson,
And Pastor
LaDonna
LaDonna Cox.
and we will be right back.
Thank you.
We're back.
Hey y'all. So this week, every week we do our music pick or our indie artist of the week. So this week we have a music pick that's very near and dear to my heart, and so it is a contestant on the show The Voice. Shout out to The Voice. I love that show now. And her name is Celeste Benton. Betton, and that is my baby cousin. And she is on The Voice. She unfortunately got knocked out during the knockout rounds, but they brought her back. And so she is back on there, and she has several different songs that, you know, when they perform them, they record them, and then they're available for purchase on iTunes, or you can go to YouTube and you can stream them and listen to them, or whatever the case may be. The specific song that I'm talking about is a song that she sang when she came back from being eliminated, and it's called Something in the Water. And it's incredible. It'll bless your life. Go look at the live video on YouTube, actually. But here is a small snippet of the clip from The Voice.
Little faith that we'll all get better, so we'll follow that preacher man down to the river. Now I am changed, and now I'm strong.
And so that was that. I hope you enjoyed it. That's my baby cousin. Again, her name is Celeste Benton. I love you.
Praise going out to you. Hope you go far.
You're going to win. Ha!
Get it. What's next, Tyree?
Okay, so next.
Is it time for Tyree Style Your Life?
So, my style tip. I do this every week. My style tip for this week is something that irks my everlasting nerves. And you know, most of the time it's with women, and that's because I like women. I like women. I like the shape of a woman. I like when a woman looks nice, and I like that they can look very regal and pull it together and snatch, and then I like how they can be very sexy and still classy. However, for some reason, some ladies have this idea that they have to wear a necklace with everything. I completely and totally disagree. And you get a real stank face. I hope this face look real stank. You do not have to wear a necklace with everything. And then when you do wear a necklace, it don't gotta be the big chunky necklace. It don't gotta be Black Girls Rock, blinged out in pink diamonds. It don't gotta be a big fat cross with a pearl hanging on the side. It ain't Chanel, we know. Stop. Please, cut it out. Something simple. Wear a cute, nice little chain with a small little cross. Or how about wear nothing? Let your shoulders show. Let them shoulders show. So, don't wear no necklace with everything, okay? That's all I got to say.
All right. Now, I will give you my health tip for the week. Health tip for the week.
Trying to get snatched.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to get snatched. Health tip for the week. Very quick, very easy. Drink lots of water. 8 ounces of water, 8 times a day. I say double that. I live in Arizona. I have to drink double that. So drink your water. It'll keep your skin clear, your body smooth and soft, and you don't have to wear a necklace to drink it.
You don't got to wear a necklace.
Look
at
the skin, honey. Look at the skin. Drink your
water.
Okay. All right, that's it.
We'll be right back.
All right, y'all. We're about done, but we do have 2 more things for you.
A couple, 2 things.
A couple. I know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah.
So the first thing is Ask T Squared. And our question this week from Camille Benton is, where do I send a song for indie artist pick of the day? Not the week, the day. But the week or the day.
It's the week, but you can say the day, Camille. Where can they send it? Because
you can send it to Mia B at misconductent.com, or you can send it to Ask T Squared.
Oh yeah.
At misconductent.com. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna spell it out for you because I misspelled it last time, so I'm just saying it'll be up on the screen.
But we corrected it, and it was spelled right, and y'all need to know how to spell squared. It's a T and squared.
That's all right. Jim will put it on the screen, right, Jim? You gonna put it up there? All right. So
around here somewhere.
All right. So last things last. Go ahead, Tyree.
Well,
the tea.
Oh, the tea.
This
tea was really good. So now we're gonna figure out what the tea was.
What is
the tea? What is the tea? We about to find out. Now mine is cold and I'm not gonna sip it no more. But what's tea? It's peppermint. It's regular peppermint
It's
tea.
just peppermint tea.
Is it?
Peppermint.
It's organic peppermint tea. Shut your shit up. Where organic peppermint tea
We
sure
like
did do
it,
me
we
right.
like it.
It kind of feel like it's making me regular, actually.
It does. Peppermint's good
I
for your
mean,
gastros.
And it's good for your throat and for your vocals, you know.
LaDonna, you better get some.
So, get this peppermint tea. It was really, really good. It really was. It's organic. You can get it from your local grocery.
Right. Real quickly, how do you like my weave? I'm just kidding. But I think that we're done now. Anything
We are
else?
done. It seemed like it went by so fast.
Oh, next week we have who?
Next show, we have Pastor Lavelle McMichael. He's coming, and he will be talking about his book that he just came out, Transforming the Minds of Men. So I'm very excited about that, to hear what he has to say in regards to his book.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We
Thank
are
y'all.
Treely,
And Tyree.
and this is What's the T Squared. Good evening.
If me and you became friends, baby, that's all I wanna do is just me and you.
Just